Great Northwoods to the Rock-On Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Tiny home in Bangor will get a glimpse. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Emma Smith and thank you for tuning in this morning. Happy Friday, by the way. We got a little rain overnight. It's kind of just more like, it's not even a sprinkle, it's just a mist. Let's get a look at that forecast with meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Hey Emma, thank you very much. Happy Friday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Irish Collision Center. Irish Collision Center offers expert repairs with a 3D frame measuring system, aluminum repair equipment. Our recent expansion boosts capacity, faster service. We're dedicated to quality every time. Visit us today. Here we go. So we do have a small crowd advisory that is posted until 11 a.m. this morning, just right out the coast here, and other areas also under a gale warning through this morning as well. So these advisories are starting to drop later this morning as the wave heights start to go down just a bit. But we are watching some more activity that's moving in from the south and west and going to the north and east. A little bit of rain overnight, but now there's a little bit more further down to the south that we'll be tracking in throughout the daytime period today. So it will be a wet one for us. So raincoats and umbrellas will be your friends, along with some windshield wipers if you're going to be driving out and about today as well. So futurecast moving forward, plenty of rain passing through. It will start to back off for a while this evening with more rain on the way as we head towards early Saturday morning, along with those gusty winds. Today, those gusty winds can reach up to around 25 to even 30 miles per hour at times, backing off for a bit overnight. But then once we head towards tomorrow, we will be watching the winds going up again. Upper 40s today, rain likely. It will be windy, and that east wind gusting up to about 30 miles per hour at times. Your hourly forecast for the rest of the morning and afternoon period showing rain on the way with temperatures in the 40s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Emma?
Thank you, Devin. Well, Maine State Police have released 2 new pictures of a missing New Sweden girl in an effort to help find her. 14-year-old Stephanie Damron was last seen walking into the woods near her home on September 24th. A post by the state police says investigators have conducted many interviews and followed up on leads in Maine, nationally, and in Canada. The Maine Warden Service and Maine State Police have searched large parcels of land near her last known location. State police say the new photos show a younger Stephanie. The most recent one is the one with a flower in her hair. Stephanie is described as 5 feet tall with green eyes and shoulder-length brown hair. She was last seen wearing blue jeans, a long-sleeved blue shirt, and a black Harley-Davidson pair of hiking boots. Anyone with information is encouraged to call the Maine State Police Holton Barracks. A Maine man accused of shooting at his father-in-law in Milo will spend 6.5 years in prison. 53-year-old David Barry pled guilty to attempted murder in connection with the incident that happened in April. The victim told police that Barry had emptied the magazine on him and had reloaded. Police say all the shots that were fired missed the victim. Barry will also be on probation for 3 years after serving his sentence. Wednesday morning, police arrested a Bangor man following a traffic stop. According to Bangor Police Sergeant Jason McCambly, the passenger, 31-year-old Mark Perkins, was identified as the suspect in a burglary in which firearms were stolen along with other items. Perkins was taken to the Penobscot County Jail. He is charged with a felony count of burglary along with 3 felony counts of theft. McCambly says Perkins admitted to committing multiple thefts in the Bangor area and told police where to find the firearms and stolen items. The firearms were recovered after a search of an Ohio Street home Wednesday evening. According to McCambly, Bangor detectives and evidence technicians located the firearms in the residence, as well as the other items believed to have been taken in other burglaries in Bangor. He says additional charges may be forthcoming. 13 people have been indicted in a cross-state drug trafficking conspiracy that used social media apps to facilitate drug distribution and the trade of firearms for drugs. 5 of those people are from Maine. 38-year-old Robert Arrington of Bangor and 34-year-old William Willock of Windham have not yet been arrested. 39-year-old Amanda Camera of Fairfield and 28-year-old Moses Losek of Portland are in state custody on unrelated charges. 38-year-old Alexander Wilson of Belfast was arrested during a traffic stop on Searsport Avenue in Belfast. He's facing several charges, including conspiracy to commit drug trafficking, state warrants for possession of methamphetamine, and violations of conditions of release. Authorities say the investigation began in October of 2023, when law enforcement got information about a drug distributor in Massachusetts conducting high-volume narcotics deals by text messages and a social media messaging app. They traced the social media accounts to Maine and New Hampshire. Bangor police have arrested a man who allegedly shot a person on Franklin Street Wednesday night. According to Bangor Police Sergeant Jason McCambly, police were called to Franklin Street just after 9 p.m. on Wednesday. After it was reported a person had been shot and the suspect was leaving the scene. The suspect was known to the victim, and authorities were able to identify the suspect as 37-year-old Todd Whitman of Herman. A vehicle believed to be operated by Whitman was located and refused to stop, leading police on a short chase until the pursuit was called off. Officers later located Whitman on foot in Bangor on the Davis Road and took him into custody. Whitman is being held at the Penobscot County Jail and is facing several charges. 2 people are facing charges after Fairfield police responded to a complaint about people being threatened with a weapon. Fairfield officer Casey Dugas says the call came in just after 2 a.m. on Thursday morning. He says when officers arrived on location, the alleged victims were able to provide physical descriptions as well as a vehicle description for the 2 individuals that had reportedly threatened them with edged weapons. A few minutes later, a vehicle matching that description was located on the Skowhegan Road. 36-year-old Jerry Sneed of Charleston and 26-year-old Joel Williams of Pittston were arrested. Both are being charged with criminal mischief. And that's it for all the police work this week in central Maine. Moving on now, Lifelight Maine is sounding the alarm on the dangers of pointing lasers at aircrafts. Lifelight recently had an incident where a laser was pointed at one of their helicopters while the crew was flying back to base in Sanford. Luckily, no one was injured in the incident, but Chief Lifelight pilot Kirk Donovan says everyone should be aware of the dangers of lasering aircrafts.
It can cause temporary blindness at the time of exposure. So the problem with that, obviously you can do the math in your head. Pilot being temporarily blinded is not a good idea, especially when we're flying 1,500 feet above the ground.
Donovan says the state of Maine has had 24 instances of people lasering aircrafts this year alone. All right, the time now is 6:07. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, a new tiny home park in Bangor is ready to start taking applications for tenants for the cost of $1,300 a month. We'll check it out, but before we go, let's take another quick look at that forecast. Rain is likely throughout the day today, as well as wind. High of 48 degrees for your Friday. Rain is also likely overnight, and tomorrow's pretty similar as today, but the temps are going to start dropping slowly. High of 44, rain and wind for your Saturday. We'll be right back.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
Rennie's, a Maine adventure.
Told you once, but we're going to tell you again. Rennie's has a great selection of Carhartt. Lots of accessories, hats, gloves, you name it. Got some great jackets, pants, great selection of sweatshirts.
This is a good color. I think it looked good on me.
I think so too. Lots of stuff for ladies and kids. Great prices, great selection. Get to Rennie's and get your Carhartt.
Thank you for shopping at Rennie's this holiday season.
Your Carhartt headquarters.
Hey, good morning, America.
Good morning, America. Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Every day of your life.
Jeopardy is for everybody.
That's amazing.
With players just like you.
Paramedic, retired teacher, psychiatrist.
The next super champion could be anyone. It could be you.
Oh, wow.
On Jeopardy!
This week at 7:30, only on ABC 7.
Welcome back to Good Morning Maine. I'm Emma Smith. Well, after just over a year of construction, an entire village of tiny homes in Bangor is ready for tenants. Our David Ledford brings us a look inside the new units.
Bangor's first ever tiny home park is now accepting applications. Randall Park brings 30 new homes to the city amid a statewide housing shortage.
A real solution to a real problem.
Each 320 square foot unit includes a bedroom, a bathroom, a kitchen complete with appliances, and a heat pump. Renting a home costs $1,300 per month, which includes both water and sewer, while tenants are responsible for electricity. Developer and longtime Bangor landlord Louis Morrison says he wanted to keep the homes affordable while also being able to break even on the $4 million project cost.
It was really how fast can we put roofs over overheads, because people need them, because the housing shortage in Maine is unbelievable. At the end of the day, for us, it was going to be how much money have we spent to do this project? What's it going to take to, make that monthly mortgage payment on that project?
Morrison has been working with the city to bring the village to life for the past couple of years, and city officials say they're hoping other housing developers will look to the project as an example.
We're really excited about it. We're hoping that other developers will look at this as an option, to provide housing that's lower cost.
Pets will be allowed with a fee, and Morrison says tenants can begin moving in as soon as December 1st. To find application information, you can view the story on our website. In Bangor, David Ledford, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
It's a call to all aviation enthusiasts. The Bangor International Airport and an Augusta-based organization announced yesterday that they're opening a flight school. Our Doug Banks has the story.
One of the oldest civilian flight schools in the country has landed in Bangor.
So this is going to tell you how fast your engine is running?
Since 1946, Maine Instrument Flight has shown promising pilots the sky is the limit, and people in the greater Bangor region now have an opportunity to make aviation aspirations a reality. Back on the ground Thursday, Maine Instrument Flight announced the opening of their new flight school location at Bangor International Airport's General Aviation Terminal.
We're here in Maine, we're part of your community, and we're ready to start flight training.
The flight school, in its partnership with the University of Maine Augusta, is working to put more licensed pilots in the air.
Workforce development is a critical issue facing our state. And Bangor International Airport is excited to be part of bringing one of the most renowned flight schools in our country to our region.
Through the flight school, UMA offers the only Bachelor's in Aviation degree program in Maine.
These programs are designed to meet the evolving needs of the aviation industry, blending academic excellence with hands-on experience to create well-rounded, career-ready graduates.
And one of those graduates will be right alongside tomorrow's aeronauts.
My goal is honestly to go back to school. I would love to get a master's in biology, and I would love to combine like a pilot biologist role together. But I think for a lot of the other people I've went to school with, it was going to the airlines or kind of going through that route too. So there's different avenues you could take.
In Bangor, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
On Thursday, the U.S. Department of Agriculture announced two of Maine's biggest snowmobiling communities have been awarded a combined, over $100,000, $100,018 to be exact. According to Maine Rural Development, the town of Herman will get about $90,000, and the Cold Mountain Snowmobile Club in Grand Isle will receive about $30,000. All of the money is allocated to purchase new trail grooming and snow grooming equipment. The Penobscot Snowmobile Club Trailmaster, Byron Ogden, says it costs a lot to maintain Herman's 42 miles of snowmobile trails every year.
Well, you got this brush work, and the stuff grows like it's on steroids, literally. It can grow 4 or 5 feet in a summer, and so then you have the blowdowns, and we've got a bunch of those.
Ogden says investing in the club also benefits the local economy, attracting hundreds to the area each year. All right, the time now is 6:14. After the break, officials are saying this fall has been one of the driest on record. We'll hear how they want to mitigate that risk as Good Morning Maine continues.
Every night is pizza night at Dragonfire Pizza. From wings, salads, and sides to our specialty wood-fired pizzas. You'll find everything you need to satisfy any craving by the slice or by the pie. A little slice of heaven is waiting for you at Dragonfire Pizza, Mill Mall, Ellsworth.
You can really make a career out of it if you find that passion and you enjoy what you're doing.
I just got done with my associate's degree. I am determined to go back and finish my bachelor's.
I didn't know that it was for me until I got into it. It just made me feel so good. Thank you. You're welcome.
Recovery coaching led me on the path to where I am now, doing the work that I do with the nonprofit, and I don't know where I'd be without it.
Let your creativity run free at the Creative Arts Center, where we offer fun and affordable activities for all ages. Birthday parties, pottery wheel classes, painting lessons, or just for the fun of it. Get fired up for glazing projects as well as acrylics. We offer a wide selection of ceramic products for you to choose from, and we have thousands of pieces ready to paint. We are a Paragon kiln dealer and a Laguna Clay distributor. Stop by the Creative Arts Center today, located just off the Joshua Chamberlain Bridge in Brewer. The Creative Arts Center, where your only limitation is your imagination.
Every night is pizza night at Dragonfire Pizza. From wings, salads, and sides to our specialty wood-fired pizzas. You'll find everything you need to satisfy any craving by the slice or by the pie. A little slice of heaven is waiting for you at Dragonfire Pizza, Mill Mall, Ellsworth.
Welcome back to Good Morning Maine. I'm Emma Smith. The Maine Climate Council released the state's updated 4-year action plan on Thursday. It recognized that progress has already been made in many areas, including reducing greenhouse gas emissions by 30% since 1990 and exceeding the governor's goal of installing 100,000 heat pumps statewide. The updated plan calls for making Maine homes and businesses more energy efficient, though through weatherization and heat pump installation. It also calls for transitioning to renewable energy resources to reduce Maine's reliance on fossil fuels and promoting electric vehicles to reduce carbon emissions. Governor Janet Mills says, quote, "Climate change is real and it is harming our lives, our economy, and our health. In the last 2 years alone, Maine has experienced 9 devastating natural disasters that have brought severe wind and flooding, prolonged power outages, and tens of millions in infrastructure damage. This updated climate action plan will build on my administration's work to make our communities more resilient to the impacts of climate change." End quote. Maine's Drought Task Force met yesterday as officials say we're facing one of the driest falls on record. According to forest rangers, this drought has led to an unexpected increase in brush and wildfires all throughout the state. Our Grace Blanchard shares more.
According to members of the Maine Drought Task Force, much of the state has only received a month's worth of rainfall in the span of 3 months. These dry weather conditions have led to an increase in brush and wildfires this fall, leaving structures more vulnerable.
In Maine especially, where we're having brush fires, it's often right next door to somebody's house or their camp. There's a lot of values at risk in Maine when we're having these fires.
Ranger Richards says they are anticipating upcoming rain to help with this drought, but he says it won't be enough.
Inch of rain is going to help. It's going to give us a window where it will be a little bit safer to burn, but realistically we need about 3 inches to get us out of the fire season. That rain can dry right up.
Members of the Holden Fire Department say they started putting away their forestry equipment well over a month ago.
I myself have been to 3 in the last week alone. Most of the state's been going out fairly frequently for the last month and a half.
Firefighter Gabe LeClaire says battling wild and brush fires is much different than the structure fires they are typically responding to.
Wildfires takes a lot of manpower, it takes a lot of time and a lot of resources, and in these smaller communities, especially that rely on volunteers, we just don't have that.
Forest rangers and firefighters encourage people to monitor the fire danger forecast frequently and obtain proper burn permits.
If you feel you shouldn't be burning or your fire department says that you shouldn't be burning, please don't. Just be careful. It's better to do it another day than to risk it and have it get out of control on you.
To learn more, visit our website, foxbangor.com. In Holden, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
And it doesn't seem like the rain we've been getting the past 24 hours and plan to get tomorrow is going to be enough to really mitigate this wildfire risk. But either way, it's better than nothing. So on that note, let's get a look at that forecast with meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, Emma, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Irish Collision Center. Irish Collision Center offers expert repairs with a 3D frame measuring system, aluminum repair equipment. Our recent expansion boosts capacity, faster service. We're dedicated to quality every time. Visit us today. Here we go. So we do have some advisories posted. Gale warnings will be expiring this morning. We'll monitor these to see if they get extended because of the active surf. We also have a small craft advisory that is up until 11 a.m. this morning, right along the coast again because of that active surf with wave heights right about in here, still at around 11 feet or so. So that is why we have gale warnings up at this time. But for now on land, we are watching rain tracking in from the southwest and going to the north and east. Not a whole lot last night, but this morning we will be watching for more rain that will be tracking in, and this will be a common idea throughout the daytime period today. So it will be a wet one. Make sure you're ready for that with this area low pressure here that's tracking off to the north and east, and now will also bring some gusty winds with it as well. So let's move forward here. So here's the rain that will be passing through this morning. We'll track this off to the north and east, maybe some snow further off towards the north. We catch a little bit of a break by this evening, but then overnight, here we go again as we head towards your weekend. More rain and gusty winds will be on the way, so make sure you're ready for that, and maybe some snow further off towards the north. Then the system will start to track off towards the north and east as we head towards Saturday night and the parts of Sunday morning, and maybe a little bit of snow mixing in before we're all finished up as well. As for the rainfall, I'm just going to run this all the way through the weekend. We have plenty of water on the way, around 1 to 2 inches of rain possible before we're all finished up. Some good beneficial moisture on the way as we're still in drought here across our neck of the woods. Here's the gusty winds reaching up to around 30 miles per hour in our neck of the woods today, backing off for a bit later on tonight. But once we head towards tomorrow, gusty winds up to 30 miles per hour, maybe a little bit higher to the south and east, cannot be ruled out either. So for today, here we go. Upper 40s, rain likely. It will be windy, and that east wind getting up to about 30 miles per hour at times. Later on tonight, lower 40s, rain likely. Northeast wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. And for tomorrow, mid 40s, rain likely, also windy, and that north wind getting up to around 25 miles per hour. Let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Irish Collision Center. A morning chance for rain and snow on Sunday with highs in the mid 40s. Otherwise, partly cloudy for your Monday with highs in the mid 40s, and mid 40s again for your Tuesday with a chance for rain and snow showers.
The Farmer's Table in Corinna brings you outstanding breakfasts, lunches, and dinners made from farm-grown fresh ingredients. Dinner specials are available every day. Enjoy our homemade desserts, and above all, bring your appetite to the Farmer's Table in Corinna.
Now's the time to get a great deal on the #1 selling compact tractor in the U.S. Professional-grade mowers, durable Sidekick utility vehicles, and versatile compact tractors. It's the equipment you need to take care of your land. Right now, bring home select Kubota equipment for 0 down, 0% APR for up to 60 months, plus save up to $300.
Available at Doors Equipment, 1468 Outer Hammond Street, Bangor.
Tonight.
911, what's your emergency?
And then the line goes silent.
All new 2020.
At what point do you realize I might be dealing with a serial killer?
Whatever he did, I'm gonna get it.
2020, tonight on ABC.
Get the power of 2 companies to get your power back in no time. That's what you get with Valley Home Heating and Valley Home Services when they install your new Generac standby generator. 2 great companies team up to provide you with one great service experience. Valley Home Services does the electrical work, and Valley Home Heating installs the propane to fuel your Generac generator, all in one visit. Call Valley Home Heating today to set up your consultation and embrace the comfort with Generac and Valley.
Taylor Events and Equipment Rental in Bangor for all your wedding and events, tents, tables, chairs, and more. Also see us for your home project equipment rentals. Taylor Events and Equipment Rental, 1179 Hammond Street in Bangor. The Farmer's Table in Corinna brings you outstanding breakfasts, lunches, and dinners made from farm-grown fresh ingredients. Dinner specials are available every day. Enjoy our homemade desserts, and above all, bring your appetite to the Farmer's Table in Corinna.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Matt Gaetz is out, Pam Bondi is in. Trump naming Bondi his new nominee for Attorney General. Gaetz taking himself out of the running yesterday, Bondi is the former Attorney General of Florida and a longtime Trump ally. She's been supporting Trump since his first term back in 2016. ABC's Perry Russum is in Washington.
This morning, President-elect Trump with a new nomination for Attorney General Pam Bondi. Trump's first pick, Matt Gaetz, taking himself out of the running. Gaetz saying he did not want to be a distraction to the administration. Gaetz' nomination shadowed by allegations of drug use and paying young women for sex. Allegations Gaetz denies.
I can tell you he surrounds himself with a lot, all strong, bright, brilliant women.
Bondi is the former Attorney General of Florida and a longtime Trump ally.
She's very deceptive. You look and you say, I wonder, is she tough? Oh, she's tough. She's scary tough, but she's fair, right?
Bondi served on Trump's legal team during his first impeachment and filed unsuccessful lawsuits claiming voter fraud in 2020.
We have just filed a motion in federal court for immediate injunctive relief to shut down the voting process.
Trump's pick for Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth facing his own controversy. According to a police report from 2017, Hegseth allegedly cornered a woman in a hotel room, took her phone, and blocked the door with his body. The woman claims Hegseth sexually assaulted her, and she remembered saying no a lot. Hegseth was not charged and denies the allegations.
The matter was fully investigated, and I was completely cleared.
It comes as former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley is slamming Trump's pick for Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard. Haley claiming Gabbard sympathizes with China, Russia, Iran, and Syria.
Now she's defended Russia, she's defended Syria, she's defended Iran, and she's defended China. No, she has not denounced any of these views.
A Trump spokesperson is defending Gabbard, saying she has the necessary experience to help resolve global conflicts. She is a combat veteran and former Democratic Congresswoman. Perry Russum, ABC News, Washington.
The International Criminal Court issues arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, among others. The court announcing the arrest warrants for Netanyahu on Thursday, as well as former Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant and Hamas's military commander Mohammed Deif. The ICC alleges they committed war crimes and crimes against humanity during the war between Israel and Hamas, including the use of starvation as a weapon and directing attacks against civilians, including children. The Israeli military says Deif was killed in an airstrike in Gaza in July. Both Israel and Hamas have rejected the allegations. The fighting in Ukraine intensifies once again, with Russia allegedly firing a nuclear-capable ICBM on Thursday. Fox News correspondent Trey Yingst has more from Kyiv.
There's a new possible escalation in the Ukraine war. On Thursday, the Ukrainian Air Force said Russia launched an intercontinental ballistic missile, or ICBM, at the city of Dnipro. It's the first time the Russians have used this type of missile, typically reserved for carrying nuclear warheads, since the start of the war.
Our crazy neighbor once again showed what he really is and how he despises dignity, freedom, and human life in general, and how afraid he is. He is so afraid that he uses new missiles.
But it's still not clear if it was an ICBM. Ukraine hasn't yet provided any proof, and Moscow is keeping quiet. A Kremlin spokesperson was asked about it during a briefing, started to answer, and was then cut off by a mysterious phone call, telling her, quote, "We don't comment on it at all." After that, she refused to get into specifics about the war.
This objectively leads to the undermining of strategic stability in order to exert forceful pressure on Russia.
If it's confirmed, the ICBM attack could be a response to Ukraine's use of American and British-supplied long-range missiles. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is working hard to shore up his country's supply of those missiles, with a possible pause in U.S. military aid coming in January.
2025 looks like being the crunch year, especially bearing in mind the new Donald Trump presidency, which will be transformational.
The Russian Defense Ministry says it shot down a number of those American and British missiles on Thursday, in addition to 67 Ukrainian drones. In Kyiv, Trey Yingst, Fox News.
And right after the break, we'll have the community calendar to check out some holiday events going on this weekend. Coming up as Good Morning Maine continues.
Welcome to Nissan. Are you interested in
test drive?
Absolutely.
There's the all-new Kicks, the new Frontier, and the Nissan Rogue. Hurry in to the Nissan year-end sales event. Now get a low $259 per month lease on Rogue.
As a child, you just couldn't keep me out of the puddles. That's where the acorn essentially was planted. As we got started, we had nothing in the bank, we were cash poor. That was just a one-man show. The support of my credit union, starting the business, the banking advice, when you can call them and they're there for you, that's tremendous. It's been a great asset for me and for my company's growth. It's really an exciting time, and my credit union made that possible.
The Bedworks Black Friday bed and mattress sale starts now. Save up to $400 on Sealy Hybrids, $500 on Tempur-Pedic, $600 on Beautyrest, $800 on Stearns & Foster, and up to $1,000 on Beautyrest Black. Save on Heirloom, Nectar, DreamCloud, and iComfort too. Save big on platform beds, fabric beds, day beds, bunk beds, and futons. And don't forget, our experts can fit you to the perfect pillow. It'll make a world of difference. The Bedworks, Twin City Plaza Brewer. Sale ends December 8th.
Get ready for the holiday season. The Rotary Club of Bangor is excited to present the annual Festival of Lights Parade. This dazzling event lights up downtown Bangor and brings joy to thousands, featuring marching bands, small and large floats, dancers, and other performing groups. And don't miss the grand finale as Santa himself arrives to spread holiday cheer. Join us Saturday, December 7th, starting at 4:30 p.m. Let's kick off the season together at the Festival of Lights Parade.
Welcome to Nissan. Are you interested in
test drive?
Absolutely. There's the all-new Kicks, the new Frontier, and the Nissan Rogue. Hurry in to the Nissan year-end sales event. Nissan offers 6 vehicles with starting MSRP under $30,000.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Welcome back to Good Morning Maine. I'm Emma Smith, and today is Friday, November 21st, 2024, and today is National Go for a Ride Day. If you're feeling a bit stressed or maybe need a change of scenery, just, if you can, maybe go for a drive. I know it's kind of rainy out, so it's not the best conditions for it. So maybe keep an eye on that forecast if you're able to later. It is a Friday. Drives with or without a destination can be a great way to get out of your own head, see new things, and set yourself free. Anything is possible, so buckle your seatbelt and follow your sense of wanderlust. I know in the warmer weather months, I'm more likely to go for a walk. In the winter, I still try to, but sometimes I'm more likely to just take a drive as well, maybe to a good antique store or something like that. I know it always helps me personally. Okay, now let's get to some history. Time to learn something this morning. Tripping over my words too. Okay, on this day in 1718, Blackbeard the Pirate was reportedly killed off the coast of North Carolina. His real name was Edward Teach, but he took on this name, of course, due to his long black beard and frightening appearance. He was a known and feared pirate off of the American colonies up until his death. In 1927, quite some time later, the first snowmobile patent was granted. In 1954, the Humane Society formed in Washington, D.C. In 1963, United States President John F. Kennedy was assassinated on this day by Lee Harvey Oswald while riding in an open-topped motorcade in Dallas, Texas. In 1986, 20-year-old Mike Tyson became the youngest heavyweight boxing champion when he stopped title holder Trevor Berbick in round 2. And there's a photo right there, kind of an iconic photo of Mike Tyson right there. Just 20 years old. I guess I didn't realize that. I'm again showing my age. Okay, and in 1991, the film The Addams Family, starring Raul Julia, Angelica Houston, and Christina Ricci, was first released. And okay, now for some birthdays. Actress Scarlett Johansson is 40 years old today. Jamie Lee Curtis is 66, and Mark Ruffalo is 57 today. Some pretty big names for actors today. Kind of a coincidence. Happy birthday to them. All right, as I've been saying this morning, rain is likely throughout the day. In Bangor, we've been seeing a mist. I don't know what it's like for other communities, but we've definitely been getting rain, and we could use it, but as I've been saying, it's quite not enough to assuage that drought, those drought conditions that we've been having. So let's get a look at that forecast with meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Hey, Emma, thank you very much. Happy Friday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Irish Collision Center. Irish Collision Center offers expert repairs with a 3D frame measuring system, aluminum repair equipment. Our recent expansion boosts capacity, faster service. We're dedicated to quality every time. Visit us today. Here we go. So we do have a small crowd advisory that is posted until 11 a.m. this morning, just right out the coast here, and other areas also under a gale warning through this morning as well. So these advisories are starting to drop later this morning as the wave heights start to go down just a bit. But we are watching some more activity that's moving in from the south and west and going to the north and east. A little bit of rain overnight, but now there's a little bit more further down to the south that we'll be tracking in throughout the daytime period today. So it will be a wet one for us. So raincoats and umbrellas will be your friends, along with some windshield wipers if you're going to be driving out and about today as well. So futurecast moving forward, plenty of rain passing through. It will start to back off for a while this evening, with more rain on the way as we head towards early Saturday morning, along with those gusty winds. Today, those gusty winds can reach up to around 25 to even 30 miles per hour at times, backing off for a bit overnight. But then once we head towards tomorrow, we will be watching the winds going up again. Upper 40s today, rain likely. It will be windy, and that east wind gusting up to about 30 miles per hour at times. Your hourly forecast for the rest of the morning and afternoon period showing rain on the way, with temperatures in the 40s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Emma?
Thanks, Devin. All things considered, it's not that cold, though, lately. I looked at my memories from about 5 years ago on this day, and it was about this time that we got a pretty major snowstorm. So, you know, it's still pretty warm for this time of year. Okay, though, now let's get a look at some of the holiday-themed events happening this weekend in our local area. All sorts of cool stuff going on this weekend. Normally that's supposed to have audio and not be so quiet, but we're still catching up. It's such a Friday today. We're all ready to go home. Okay, though, and that's up on foxbangor.com if you need a repeat of any of that fun stuff. I know it's a big weekend if you like craft fairs, which I sure do. Okay, right after the break, Tyler Cruz will have our sports updates. We'll be right back.
Whether you have a $15,000 fender bender or a surgery case worth $1 million, call the Twos.
I walked away from my car accident with minor injuries, but I called the Twos and they still got me $23,000.
I needed multiple surgeries after my accident with a big truck. I called the Twos, and Lowry and Associates got me $700,000.
Big cases and small, we handle them all. Call us. We win for you.
If you're hurt in an accident, what do you do? Call 222-2222.
At WKIT in the 90s, things were a little different. Now we take the rock very seriously. Still clowning around decades later, 100.3 WKIT, WKIT HD, Brewer, Bangor.
Hammond Lumber Company has been a trusted partner of professional contractors, do-it-yourselfers, and homeowners for generations. It's the level of trust that Hammond Lumber has earned by providing an extensive selection of products and materials from industry-leading suppliers, with guidance and support through every stage of any project, including delivery of materials throughout Maine and New Hampshire. Hammond Lumber Company is, has been, and will always be your building project partner.
The University of Maine Black Bears take on the New Hampshire Wildcats, Saturday at 1 on ABC 7.
Welcome back in, everyone. Thank you for staying with us. High school football state championships are this Saturday, and the Herman Hawks will look to make history by bringing home the school's first ever gold ball. Jack Webb has the story.
Like Coach says, we're always wanting to be remembered, and I think we're going to be remembered this year.
The Herman Hawks made history on Saturday, winning their first ever Northern Maine championship and punching their ticket to their first ever state championship game.
I get happy in the game of football. That's probably the happiest I've ever been. Just doing something that the program's never accomplished and being one of the players on the team at the time.
It wasn't easy, as Saturday was the Hawks' third regional final appearance in 4 years, but they finally got over the hump.
So it goes back to the first days. Everybody that's put their blood, sweat, and tears into this program. Every year there's been groundwork that's been laid, and we took care of business this Saturday, so we got one more.
What was the difference?
Work ethic and our camaraderie out of football. Like, we do everything together outside of football. Doesn't even have to be related to it. We're a team outside and inside football.
They all love each other. The bond that they have is special. It really is.
Herman will take on Freiburg Academy this Saturday as the Hawks will look to bring home a gold ball and solidify their position as the greatest team in school history. They'll lean on the grit and determination that led them here.
More hard work. It's just another football game at the end of the day, so another 48 minutes of hard work, and I think we can come out on top.
Just toughness. We run the ball right down their gut. We're going to be good.
The harsh reality is that no matter what happens on Saturday, it'll be the last time this trailblazing senior class will get to strap up that white helmet.
It's kind of scary. We've been playing since third grade, tackle football. It's kind of scary, but it's kind of cool. It's all coming to an end. Might as well put it all on the field.
I say it all the time. We could be 0-8 with these guys right now, and I'd have a blast. So the win, lose, or draw, the sad part about Saturday is that this season's over. I could spend another 3 years with these guys.
Herman and Freiburg will battle at Lewiston High School on Saturday. Kickoff is slated for 11 a.m. From Herman, Jack Webb, ABC 7, Fox 22 Sports.
Thanks for that, Jack. Wishing them luck on Saturday. We will head over to Alfond Arena now, where the Black Bears are preparing to take on their bitter rival, the University of New Hampshire. This will be Maine's first meeting of the year with the Wildcats, who currently sit at 4-3-2 on the year. It's just a standalone game on Friday with a full series coming later in the season at the Alfond. Their last meeting was in the Hockey East playoffs back in March, where Maine ended the Wildcats season by a score of 5-0. Maine head coach Ben Barr says, yes, there is the buzz about the rivalry game, but for his team right now, it's about trying to get a road win in Hockey East.
For us, it's a chance to go into a really hostile building against a good team and test ourselves. And we failed that test 2 weeks ago when we went down to BC. So that's more what I'm excited about, seeing, like, can we take a step as a program and go to a really tough place, and knowing that the odds are stacked against you and get a job done.
Our puck drop at 7 p.m. on Friday. To the basketball court now, staying with the University of Maine. Maine women's hoops coming off of a home loss to Harvard, looking to rebound on the road. The Black Bears at Boston University trying to grab a win over the Terriers. First quarter, Maine off to a hot start. Sarah Talon fights for the offensive rebound, gets it out to Esta Blauenfeld. She pulls the three and gets it to go. Maine led by 12 early on. Second quarter, it's a little closer now. Blauenfeld on the baseline makes a beautiful move inside, gets the Euro step layup to go. She had a career-high 24 points. Tie game before half. Terriers have it now. Alex Giannaros, nice pass to Allison Schwertner. She gets it to go before the break. BU leads by 2 at the half. Second half now, former Hamden Academy Bronco Bella McLaughlin has it, goes baseline, makes a move, and gets it to fall. 14 points for Bella. Maine gets within 5, but they fall 67-57. All right, back to some hockey now. The Bruins firing former Maine Black Bear Jim Montgomery on Tuesday after a 5-1 loss to Columbus. So Joe Sacco behind the bench for his debut on Thursday night. The Medford, Mass native trying to get a win in his first game as Bruins interim head coach against the Utah Hockey Club. Second period, Bruins on the power play. Good puck movement. It gets inside to Elias Lindholm. It's been a while since he's found the back of the net. That makes it 1-0 Bruins. To the third, now Utah with it, and they are looking looking to tie it up. Winger Lawson Krause has it. He rips a shot on net. Watch this. It goes off the post and then off the helmet of Jonas Korpisalo. It's a game of inches there, but it stays 1-0 Bruins. Final minute now, 5-on-5 with the empty net from Juha, and they get a great chance. Krause finds Nick Schmaltz, but Korpisalo comes away with the save, and the Bruins are back in the win column with a 1-0 victory.
I thought our guys really dug in here tonight. You know, a lot of gratitude to them because of the way they played. And, you know, we just wanted to try to make sure that our energy level was good, that we focused on, you know, not the outcome, but the process.
That is all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
Rennie's, a main adventure.
This holiday season, Rennie's has everything you need to be comfy and cozy. We have great robes and
socks.
We also have a great selection of pajama pants for the entire family.
And socks. And more socks.
Don't forget, Rennie's has lazy ones for the entire family.
Lots of socks.
And lots of socks. Rennie's has everything you need to be comfy and cozy this Christmas season.
Thank you for shopping at Rennie's this holiday season.
And slipper socks.
After an accident, the insurance company often wants to rush you into accepting their fair offer. Don't sign away your rights.
I didn't trust the insurance company.
They were wanting to settle fast and cheap.
How much is your case worth? It's probably worth more than you've been told. I called Joe.
I found out what my case was really worth.
Say yes to maximum compensation, to everything you deserve. Call the firm that has been getting justice for Mainers for 50 years.
Tell them you mean business.
Even though Dorsey Furniture is known for our vast collections of quality home furnishings, sometimes we like to venture into the forgotten passageways and dark corners of our enormous warehouse to mine the odd nightstand, forgotten sofa, orphaned love seat, or the elusive discontinued mattress. Meanwhile, our sales manager, not the bean counters, smashed their original retail prices into tiny fractions of themselves. Dorsey Furniture. Black Friday, Black Tag Sale going on now.
Welcome back to Good Morning Maine. A new Bankrate survey gives insight into Americans' feelings about Social Security. According to Bankrate's new Social Security survey, 53% of Americans who haven't retired yet say they expect to rely on Social Security benefits to pay their necessary expenses once they retire. But at the same time, 72% of all Americans are concerned that promised Social Security benefits won't be paid to them upon retirement age. Social Security has been an important safety net for Americans for nearly 90 years. Earlier this year, a federal report stated that the Social Security Trust Fund is projected to be exhausted in 2033. According to NPR, unless congressional lawmakers intervene, benefits could be cut by 21%. With so many Americans expecting to rely on Social Security after retirement, a cut in benefits could put future retirees' finances at risk. One prestigious college just got more affordable for certain families. The Massachusetts Institute of Technology, or MIT, announced it will be waiving tuition for students from families that make less than $200,000 a year. Families making less than $100,000 will have all costs waived, including housing, dining, and textbook fees. The waived tuition will begin in fall of 2025. MIT is already one of the only 9 schools that does not consider a student's ability to pay in the admissions process. The sticker price for MIT is more than $62,000, but last year the university said the annual cost paid by an undergraduate receiving financial aid was nearly $13,000. A new report details the alarming number of shoppers who have fallen victim to fraud schemes. According to the AARP Fraud Watch Network, 82% of shoppers have faced some type of fraud this year. The report says 64% of respondents admitted that they were not aware that it wasn't normal for online retailers to ask for personal login information when dealing with customer support. Another 56% reported that they received a message from someone pretending to be from USPS, FedEx, or UPS, trying to convince them that there was a problem with their shipment. The report says the number of fraudulent texts from shipment companies has nearly doubled since 2022. With the holidays approaching, consumer experts are warning that shoppers should be extra vigilant with emails, texts, and ads on social media. I know personally it's gotten so bad that I barely even click on a link if I get an email. I don't even click, I try not to click on links from emails at all, even if I recognize the name. Sometimes these scammers will act like it's an email that you've gotten before, like it'll say their name, but it won't say their actual email. So they figure out who you've been emailing, and then they pop that name up, but it doesn't show the actual email, if that makes sense. And then they'll have some link or something that when you click on it, that's how maybe you get downloaded, that's how you download some malware or something like that. I know that wasn't the most eloquent, but just be really, really careful and don't click on things if you aren't really sure of what it could be. Okay, now for the latest on what's happening in Hollywood, here's ABC's Melissa Aden.
Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie.
Last summer, Barbie and Oppenheimer created the box office phenomenon known as Barbenheimer, with many seeing the two vastly different films as a double feature. This year, we have Glicked, Gladiator 2, and Wicked Part 1.
You're green.
Both hitting theaters at the same time. But will this lineup recapture the Barbenheimer magic?
Popular. I know about popular.
Wicked adapts the popular Broadway musical with Cynthia Erivo as Elphaba and Ariana Grande as Glinda.
There are victories yet still to come.
Meanwhile, Ridley Scott's epic Gladiator 2 stars Paul Mescal and Denzel Washington and picks up where Russell Crowe's Maximus left off in the first film, which won the Best Picture Oscar in 2001. As for what's hitting streaming this weekend, Netflix has the new Ted Danson comedy, A Man on the Inside, the family drama, The Piano Lesson, and the animated film Spellbound.
Who needs men when you've got good music, great vibes, and the best gals?
Over on Max, The Sex Lives of College Girls returns for season 3, and on Starz, Outlander kicks off part 2 of its 7th season. And actor Mark Ruffalo is 57 today. And that's what's happening in Hollywood. Melissa Adan, ABC News, Los Angeles.
I've been seeing Wicked everywhere. I'm really looking forward to seeing it myself. All right, are we getting a look at the forecast now? Is that what we're doing? I think that's what we're doing. Let's check in with Devin Biggs for that full meteorological report. I got that word down this week.
Alrighty, Emma, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Irish Collision Center. Irish Collision Center offers expert repairs with a 3D frame measuring system, aluminum repair equipment. Our recent expansion boosts capacity, faster service. We're dedicated to quality every time. Visit us today. Here we go. So we do have some advisories posted. Gale warnings will be expiring this morning. We'll monitor these to see if they get extended because of the active surf. We also have a small craft advisory that is up until 11 a.m. this morning, right along the coast again because of that active surf with wave heights right about in here, still at around 11 feet or so. So that is why we have gale warnings up at this time. But for now on land, we are watching rain tracking in from the southwest and going to the north and east. Not a whole lot last night, but this morning we will be watching for more rain that will be tracking in, and this will be a common idea throughout the daytime period today. So it will be a wet one. Make sure you're ready for that with this area low pressure here that's tracking off to the north and east, and now will also bring some gusty winds with it as well. So let's move forward here. So here's the rain that will be passing through this morning. We'll track this off to the north and east, maybe some snow further off towards the north. We catch a little bit of a break by this evening, but then overnight, here we go again as we head towards the weekend. More rain and gusty winds will be on the way, so make sure you're ready for that, and maybe some snow further off towards the north. Then the system will start to track off towards the north and east as we head towards Saturday night and the parts of Sunday morning, and maybe a little bit of snow mixing in before we're all finished up as well. As for the rainfall, I'm just going to run this all the way through the weekend. We have plenty of water on the way, around 1 to 2 inches of rain possible before we're all finished up. Some good beneficial moisture on the way as we're still in drought here across our neck of the woods. Here's the gusty winds reaching up to around 30 miles per hour in our neck of the woods today, backing off for a bit later on tonight. But once we head towards tomorrow, gusty winds up to 30 miles per hour, maybe a little bit higher to the south and east, cannot be ruled out either. So for today, here we we go. Upper 40s, rain likely. It will be windy, and that east wind getting up to about 30 miles per hour at times. Later on tonight, lower 40s, rain likely. Northeast wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. And for tomorrow, mid 40s, rain likely, also windy, and that north wind getting up to around 25 miles per hour. Let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Irish Collision Center. A morning chance for rain and snow on Sunday with highs in the mid 40s. Otherwise, partly cloudy for your Monday with highs in the mid 40s, and mid 40s again for your Tuesday with a chance for rain and snow showers.
Nothing feels as good as driving a new Hyundai. And now you can get a great deal on your favorite model at the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Plus, every Hyundai is backed by America's best warranty. Hurry to the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event before this offer ends. Make your next getaway your best one yet. Get an all-wheel drive Santa Fe for 1.99% APR for up to 72 months or lease for $269 a month. Hurry in.
When outdoors, some people like it hot and some people like it cold. However, when indoors, most people like it comfortably warm. Choose a Boderas boiler from McCusick Petroleum Company to provide you with comfortable and efficient heat. They also offer sales and service on many brands of furnaces, boilers, and water heaters. McCusick Petroleum Company delivers oil and LP gas to homes and businesses throughout the Pequot region. If you'd like more information on pricing or service, call or stop by our office in Dover Foxcroft.
Make Wheel of Fortune your home for the holidays.
Let's do it. How about a trip to St. Lucia? You're going to Barbados. $1 million is in plates. I feel it.
It's going to happen.
Weekdays at 7 on ABC 7.
The holidays. And holiday trips. And holiday toys. And holiday bonding. And it all comes together in a Chevrolet.
Find your red tag. Get 0% financing on the all-new 2025 Equinox. Or current qualified lessees can get this Equinox all-wheel drive for around $299 a month. Visit your main Chevy dealers.
This morning on GMA, Denzel Washington live. Plus, it's Oprah's favorite things.
You, GMA, and my favorite things.
This morning, only on
Good Morning America. Let's do this.
All right, finally now this morning, the official White House Christmas tree was cut down this week in North Carolina. A 20-foot-tall Fraser fir was selected at Cartner's Christmas Tree Farm in Avery County. That's beautiful. Look at that. That's like the perfect tree. The tree was selected from a national contest hosted by the National Christmas Tree Association. The Fraser fir has been chosen as a White House Christmas tree 16 times, the most of any other Christmas tree species. Video shows Santa Claus posing with the tree on Wednesday morning. Workers are seen tying up the tree and using a crane to place it gently on a transport truck, excuse me, as it begins its commute to Washington. And it's definitely already made its way there. But look at that. Oh, I love it. Looks like a lot of fun, and we're definitely entering into that season. If you need a reminder of any of the fun holiday stuff going on this weekend, head to foxbangor.com. Good Morning America is next on ABC 7, and we'll start a renewed hour of Good Morning Maine next on Fox 22. Have a great day.
The Farmer's Table in Corinna brings you outstanding breakfasts, lunches, and dinners made from farm-grown fresh ingredients. Dinner specials are available every day. Enjoy our homemade desserts, and above all, bring your appetite to the Farmer's Table in Corinna.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
All that That's Metal in Herman is ready to be your trusted partner for your metal roofing and wall panel projects. Our high-quality metal roofing and wall panel systems are offered in a variety of colors and styles and backed up with a 40-year warranty. We manufacture standard as well as custom sizes in our facility in Herman. Homeowners and contractors, elevate your structures with our market-leading metal roofing and wall systems. Stop by our retail store at 893 Coldbrook Road in Herman to see our selections and to discuss your upcoming project. All That's Metal, the best roof and wall systems on the market.
You're gripping a pumpkin spice latte, watching the home game on a Friday night. Earlier, you took the kids apple picking and almost made it through the corn maze. It's that time of year. Shorter days, cooler nights. Valley Home Services believes the comfort and warmth of home means more on nights like these. Comfort and warmth that comes from Fujitsu heat pumps. Valley Home Services has the most reliable choices for heating and cooling your home or business. Ditch the worry of heating bills and power outages all season long with Valley Home Services.
Go ahead, embrace the comfort.
The Farmer's Table in Corinna brings you outstanding breakfasts, lunches, and dinners made from farm-grown fresh ingredients. Dinner specials are available every day. Enjoy our homemade desserts, and above all, bring your appetite to the Farmer's Table in Corinna.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Good morning, America. Powerful storm in the west.
And streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Today on Good Morning Maine, the search for a missing New Sweden girl continues since she's been gone for almost 2 months. Plus, 13 people have been arrested in a cross-state drug trafficking conspiracy. And there's a new $4 million tiny home park in Bangor. We'll get a glimpse inside. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Emma Smith and happy Friday. It's finally Friday and we're finally getting some rain as well. I'm about to say a kind of bad word. There might be some snow in our forecast. I know it's pretty normal by this time of year, but we've been needing the rain. We've been needing any sort of precipitation. So on that note, let's get a look at the forecast with meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Hey, Emma, thank you very much. Happy Friday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Irish Collision Center.